Hello, everybody. So Rohit Nanda here again. First of all, apologies. We've had a few technical issues, and then when I did manage to go live, no one could hear me. So we're going to try this again. So today's session is all around letting go of overwhelm and growing your business. And obviously, I am particularly overwhelmed at the moment because I'm now very late in terms of what I'm trying to achieve in today's session. I'm hoping that there are some people watching me who can tell me that they can now hear me. So if you can comment or show me that you're there, that would be wonderful, so that I don't go on for too much longer or for too long. So anyway, let me introduce myself. So I am Rohit Nanda. I am the founder of Palgrave Consulting. We work with small and medium-sized businesses around the world to help them scale, to help them become more profitable, and to ultimately do what they were put on this planet to do, if you like. And one of the things which we've discovered through working with these business people is that they are very, very overwhelmed. And that stops them, if you like, from growing the business of their dreams, from having the lifestyle of their dreams, because they're continually stressed. And so what we're trying to do here is trying to work out how we can help you, if you like, acknowledge the fact that overwhelm exists, and then secondly, work on some strategies to help you remove overwhelm from your life, if you like. So let's see how we get on. I think there is somebody now watching, so hopefully they can tell me if they can hear me, maybe just by giving me a comment or a thumbs up or something like that, to let me know that it's working. So like I said, I'll give you some more details about me. I've worked in banking, in manufacturing, in fintech consultancy, and I co-run a food business with my wife. I've worked all over the globe, in the UK, in where I'm based at the moment, in India, Saudi Arabia, in Latvia, and in a number of other, and work with clients, as I said, all over the world, ranging in size from startups, scale-ups, SMEs, all the way through to multinationals. I'm a business growth strategist. And I've also written a few books. So if that's of interest and you would like to read my books, they're ebooks, not particularly long, because I feel that it's more about the message than it is about the length of the book. So we've got Unlock the Secrets of Revenue Growth and Unlock the Secrets to Business Acceleration, both of which I can send you the links to, and you can download at your leisure and consume. But anyway, enough about me. Let's hope that someone out there is listening and can hear me. So let's get on to the subject of overwhelm. And the first thing to note is that overwhelm is real, okay? And it affects most of us at some time. So if you're feeling stressed, frustrated, overwhelmed with everything, don't worry. You're not alone, okay? It is very common, okay? And actually, it's the number one symptom that people struggle with when they're feeling stressed, all right? Now, the great news is the human body is designed to handle short bursts of stress, okay? But it's not meant to cope with it over a long period of time. So if you are feeling stressed or overwhelmed, that's fine. And we recognize that we have that, as I've already said to you. But now the next question is to make sure that you don't let it fester and let it overtake you. And the reason for that, if you like, is that as you do allow that, or if you do allow that, it affects your decision making. And so what you'll find is that you're unable to make a good, effective decision. And that leads to greater overwhelm and leads to greater stress, which then affects your decision making even further. And so what, if you like, is you're ending up into some sort of spiral, okay? And what we're trying to do is avoid being in a spiral. Okay, a spiral of descent. So I'm going to come up with, for those of you who know me out there, you'll know that I'm very pragmatic and very practical. Okay, I look for shortcuts, if you like, that would help us deal with what we're going through. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a few suggestions on and some advice on areas that you can help that could help you deal with your overwhelm and deal with your stress. And we'll cover those shortly. The other thing to think about, though, as well, which is really important, is that as your day progresses, you're not going to hopefully be always overwhelmed. Okay, there's going to be moments when things are going very well and things are in control, and you're almost, if you like, in a flow state. Okay, and then there are other times, however, when you're juggling many balls. Just think about that. The typical business owner, I've got my accounts to do, I've got purchasing to do, I've got that staffing issue to deal with, I've got the packaging to sort out, I've got all of these things to deal with. So you're feeling it, and it's beginning to start to get on top of you. Now, all you have to do is drop one of those balls, right? And once you drop one of those balls, you start to get overwhelmed. Okay? So what can we do about overwhelm? What can we do, and how can we deal with that? Okay? So the first thing to think about with overwhelm is thinking about goals and priorities. Okay? And by that, I'm talking about taking a step back and think clearly about where you're going. What are the things that you need to focus on? Okay? What are the areas, right? Forget about the whole long list, but think about 3 to 5 goals that you need to accomplish. Okay? And then probably most importantly, which business owners are notoriously bad at doing, which is why I'm going to emphasize it here, is prioritize time to go and accomplish it. There is no point saying that I really do need to focus on new business and then not spend any time working on new business. It sounds almost counterintuitive, right? It sounds so obvious that why is Rohit saying this to you? But the reality is people out there are busy doing things. And as a result, they're not thinking about the other things that they could do and setting aside the time for the areas that are of real importance to them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, perhaps counterintuitively again, is to take a step back. Okay? We found that by being creative and doing creative activities actually can help reduce your stress. All right? So if you can take yourself away from that pressure cooker environment and find that space where you can be creative, and whatever that creativity activity is to you, it could be drawing, it could be going for a stroll, it could be anything, it could be brainstorming, it could be something unrelated to the area that is overwhelming you. What we find is that just by taking 45 minutes away from the day-to-day and from the stress will help lower your stress levels. Okay? So think about that. Don't put yourself under so much pressure, okay, that you can't take time away, okay? Because it won't help you in the long run. All right? The next thing to think about, and it's obviously something that I do, but find someone else that you can get help from, okay? A problem shared is a problem halved, I believe is the expression. People always tell me I get that wrong, so I may well have got it wrong. But my point is, find somebody that you can confide in, okay? It doesn't have to be someone like me who's a business advisor. It could be. But it could be a friend. It could be a family member. It could be somebody that you can share that burden and you can just get some other insights into it. The reason why, I'm a business consultant, if you like, is one of the things we found is that business owners typically don't have a network of people around them that they can talk to. Okay, you guys have this group, so presumably within the group you could share. You may have connections within the group who are not family members, who are not going to judge you, who are not going to criticize you or tell you that you should go and get a real job. Okay, so think about that. Be open to new ideas and thinking. Okay, but also, actually, interestingly enough, be open to offer help to others, because what we find is that giving is receiving. And what that will also do is reduce your stress levels, because the answer often does lie within us. But because of the stress and because of the overwhelm, we can't possibly see the pathway out. Okay? The fourth area that I would suggest you look at is define the problem. Okay? So what is it that is really causing you overwhelm? And apologies for the background noise. It seems like our rubbish people have now arrived on cue. So think about, what is that one thing that's holding you back? What is the one thing that's stressing you out? What is the one thing that you need to go and do? Okay. And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to break it down. And I'd like you to break it down into its smallest parts. And what I would like to encourage you to do is that you keep on breaking it down. Because once you break it down to its smallest, almost its smallest component, it feels much more achievable. It feels much more like you can actually go away and accomplish it. And you can take that small first step, and then that next step, and then the step thereafter. Okay? Once you understand your problem, you will, I promise you, feel less overwhelmed. And then you will be able to take action to move forward, because that's the key here. The key here is that we want you to be able to take action and move forward. All right? So think about that, okay? So let me remind you of these areas, and I'll probably put up a post and with a diagrammatic thing later, just to help you. So the first thing is, think about your goals and your priorities. You can't do everything, okay? So map out what are the 3 to 5 things that you'd like to accomplish, and then please make sure that you prioritize time to accomplish them. Okay? Secondly, take some time away from that problem. Do something creative, drawing, sketching, go for a stroll, whatever it is, brainstorming, something that's not related to the problem that's causing you the overwhelm, and try and do it for 45 minutes just to see if it will help you reduce your stress levels. Okay, because remember, reducing our stress levels will lead to increased cognitive ability, which means we'll be able to make better decisions. Okay, the third area is getting help from others. Okay, it doesn't have to be someone like me. It can be anybody that you can confide in. Share the problem, broach it, make it open. Okay, a lot of us have all of these things in our head, right? All of these problems in our head, but they've not written them down. And so if you've not written them down, how on earth are you going to possibly deal with the problem? It's just going to fester and it's just going to sit there. So articulate it, write it down, create that list, and then get help from others, okay? And be open to new ideas and thinking, okay? It doesn't have to only be your way. It's your business, but it doesn't have to be your way, okay? Be open to new ideas and suggestion, okay? And finally, define the problem. Get control by writing down what is that problem, and then just break it down to its smallest tasks. I do an activity with some of my clients where we look forward to a year. What are we going to achieve in a year? Where are we going to celebrate achieving that in a year? And then, okay, take a step back. So what do we need to do within the next 90 days? Okay, so that starts to bring that mountain that little bit closer. And then from there, what do we now need to do within the next month? And then the next week, and then the next day, so that we start to move forward. Okay, you've all heard the expression, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat an elephant one bite at a time, and it's exactly the same here. Okay, with whatever our challenges and whatever our problems are, how do you define that, and what do you need to do to kind of take control of that? So that's the first area that I wanted to cover today. Now bear in mind, this is the first of 2 sessions, and next week I plan to go into a lot more detail around business growth and strategy. But today I wanted to at least start to make you think about business growth. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about overwhelm. All right, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about was the 80-20 rule, and I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure you've read about it, watched about it, but are you actually recognizing that within you and your own business? And by the 80-20 rule, what I'm talking about here, in particularly around business, is that 20% of what you do every day is generating 80% of your revenue. Okay, so bear that in mind. 20% of what you do every day is generating 80% of your revenue. So that means that the 80% of things that you're doing out there are only contributing to 20% of what you're doing. So actually, if we really focus in on that 20%, you will find that you're only doing a few things daily that make you most of your money and makes most of your business. And that will actually alleviate some of that stress, right? Because actually we only need to focus on that 20%, if that makes sense. Okay? So that's the thing. So the 80-20 rule I'd like you to think about. And then from the 80-20 rule, the next stage, if you like, is the 5 areas that you as a business person or a business owner, whether you're a startup, a scale-up, an established business, there are 5 areas, okay, that you should be thinking about, okay? The first is around leads. So how do you generate all the leads that your business can handle? The second is around conversions. So it's great that you've got all these people into your world, but how do you convert those prospects into paying clients? So how do we convert them? Okay. The next thing after that is around transactions. How do we, once we've got these clients, and depending on obviously your service or product, how do you get them to buy more frequently from you? Okay. Because what we find is businesses tend to focus on finding new clients instead of looking at their existing client base and seeing what more they could offer, what other ancillary services, products could they offer, could they upsell to them when they're already a client. Because the great thing is when they're already a client, they know, like, and trust you, and therefore they are going to be more open to transacting with you again. The fourth area is around pricing, okay? And it's an area that I think a lot of business owners shy away from. Pricing is actually key to your success as a business, okay? And if you don't look after your pricing, then actually you could be working and being really busy running your business, but actually not making any money off the back of it, okay? So what I would think and ask you to think about is, when did you last increase your prices, okay? And how could you increase your prices without losing sales? Every dollar, pound, euro, naira that you spend or that you increase your price by hits your profit or your bottom line directly. Okay, if nothing else changes, it goes straight to your bottom line. So therefore, if you increase your price by 5%, your revenue or your profit will go up by 5%. Okay? So think about that. Now, why do business owners shy away from increasing prices? They're scared that they're going to lose clients, okay? And that's a natural feeling, right? And that may well happen. You may well lose clients. But what we found through our work with businesses around the world is that by increasing your prices, the people you lose, the clients that you lose, are the ones who are obviously price sensitive, okay? And not all of your clients are price sensitive, because clients buy from you based on value. They shouldn't be buying from you based on price. So an increase in price should have no effect or little effect, okay, on the number of clients who remain with you, assuming that you're delivering what they are looking for and you're delivering the value that they need, okay? And what we found is, a 5% increase in pricing, you could afford to lose almost 20% of your client base, all right? So is that likely? And is that likely? And if it is, okay, that just means that you're going back to the same level you were before. Okay. And the last area that I wanted to touch upon was, how do we think about profits? Okay. I make no bones about the fact that if you're running a business, you should be thinking about profits within your business. Okay. And you should certainly be thinking about areas that can help you maximize your profits. So when did you last look at your costs? When did you last analyze your cost base? Okay. Have you thought about your pricing, as I've already discussed and mentioned? Okay. So that's essentially it. So the 5 areas, if you like, that I'd like you to be thinking about that make up that 20% that you should be focusing on every day is how to get more leads, how to get more conversions, how to get more transactions, how you can think about increasing your prices depending on where your business is and what your services are. And finally, what are you going to do about your profits? And have you actually got a handle of your profits? And do you understand what your profits are and what they look like? Okay. Those were the main topics that I wanted to cover today. because I did want to keep it deliberately short, because I know that we've all got a lot going on, and the last thing you need is me overwhelming you further with more and more things. So what I will do is, in the group, I will post a couple of these slides around the overwhelm and around the 5 areas that you should be focusing on. And I hope that you found it useful. As I said, I'm not particularly familiar with Facebook, so I'm not even sure if I've got any comments or any messages. But if you have any questions for me, by all means, just send me a message in the group. Put it into this post if you like, or at the bottom of this post once it gets published or whatever it is. And by all means, contact me, ask me if there's something that I've not covered or there's something you need clarification on, then just write it down in a comment or DM me, and I'll make sure that I address it next week. And yeah, thank you for those of you who've watched. Apologies again for the technical challenges that we've had, but I guess that's part and parcel of running a business, is that things come at you from out of nowhere. I hope it's been a useful session. I certainly enjoyed delivering it. And next week we will go into picking out 4 areas that you can really focus on to help your business become more profitable. Thanks very much again for your time, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.